Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Anwar Khayyat. I am a dentist. I've come to visit for Zyarah. I've come to visit Karbala, Najaf, and Qadamain. I am from Toronto, Canada. Originally, I am Iraqi. I've lived in Toronto for over 10 years. And most of my family lives in Toronto, Canada right now. And I'm here. I was here last week in Qadamain with a group called the Global Kindness Foundation. We were here to provide free dental care to orphans. And now we're in Karbala, and next week, inshallah, we'll be in Najaf. I have never been here for Arba'in. It is on my wish list, and inshallah, it will happen ASAP. My brothers have been, and I've seen pictures, and they all tell me how great it is. Apparently, it's very different from this. Yeah, everybody says you have to be there in person to understand the immense number of people that are here and how things actually go perfectly smooth and perfectly fine, and everybody is experiencing that spiritual journey to bettering their deen. That's not a comparison that I would make, mainly because over here you have a shrine that, to me, when I come here, I'm in a hotel 10 seconds away, all the prayers, all the Jamaat prayers, right away at Imam Hussein, at Abul Fadl Abbas. To me, that's like, there's no value I can put on that. Just those few minutes that I get, even if I pray in this city, I feel like my salah is much more different than the salah I do in Toronto. The Quran I read inside the shrine, the thoughts that when I sit there, just sitting there in the shrine, and I'm thinking about my life, about my day-to-day akhlaq, my day-to-day goals, my family, my wife, my kids, my plans, it's totally different. The way it feels is totally different. This is my second trip. This is my third trip. The very first time I came here, the only difficult I felt that inside me I felt was, all the chatter about security. Right, back in Toronto, everyone's talking about, oh, is it safe to go to Qadamain? Is it safe to go to Karbala? What if you don't speak Iraqi? You have an accent. People are going to know you from outside. And there was a lot of talk over there. I talked to many of the people who have been here, and everybody who comes here, they say there's no such thing. You come here and, yes, there's security checkpoints. You got to go through them. Perfectly normal, just like you would go through an airport anywhere else, or just like you go through anywhere that is of importance. Other than that, I feel there's no need for all that chatter of lack of security, because I don't see it in Karbala. I didn't see it in Najaf, and I didn't see it in Qadamain. Well, when I saw it the very first time, I cried. I was very nervous walking up to the shrine, because to me it was, this is a moment that I anticipated for a very, very long time, and I wanted to make sure it's the best moment. And I remember I sat there nonstop for 13 hours. I remember it was a 13-hour stint where I went in there and I sat there and read a lot of Quran, did as many prayers as I can, as many du'as. So it was a moment that I still remember to this day, and I'm sure I'll remember for a long time. And very, very emotionally and spiritually valuable moment in my life. I find that just like other Zawars who were a source for me before I came on my first Zyarah, I will be a source for other potential Zawar on what the experience is like, or what's the value of it. Before I came the first time, I went around and asked other Zawar, and I was like, what was it like? What did you experience? And they all gave me nothing but positive feedback, and they told me how it works and what goes on. And to me, I plan to be that same source, just like those other Zawar that were. I plan to be that same kind of person who's, a source of guidance to those future Zawar who want to visit, inshallah, in the future. Mainly, the Zyarah, the purpose I do Zyarah is to learn from the values that Imam Hussein stood up. And I confidently believe that the purpose that this organization is serving is parallel with the values of Imam Hussein. So to me, I felt like this trip in itself, whether I'm doing treatment for the orphans or I'm at the shrine, it's Zyarah in both cases, really, because I'm doing something that Imam Hussein would definitely stand by. I certainly do. I do share it at work. I share it with friends who are non-Muslims and Muslims, and I find even if I don't share, a lot of people, just like you go on a vacation or you go on a trip and they say, where'd you go? You tell them I went to whatever, people go to Cancun and those kind of places. You bring up Karbala and people will ask you, what's Karbala? Why would you go to Karbala, right? And I find there's a lot more curiosity when you say, I went to Karbala, Iraq, or Baghdad, Iraq, or Najaf, Iraq, than when you went to Cancun, Mexico. Right? And so I tell people this is to me a pilgrimage, and this is to me a spiritual and intellectual, a social lesson of many kinds. So that's really what happens in my conversations with Muslims and non-Muslims back home about Zyarah. Right now, at this moment in my life, and I say this because it's been changing every couple of years, I have a preference to someone else. Right now, I really like her. And I just like that non-stop, constant self-reflection to the last second to determine whether you're right or wrong and correct yourself right on the minute. And to me, that's very valuable. You should do Zyarah ASAP. You should go read about the value of Zyarah. There's many sources out there that explain the value of Zyarah, and there's many sources that confirm its value along the lines of the value of Hajj and other mandatory rituals and pilgrimages that we do in Islam, not just Shia Islam. That's it. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Michelle Chagbar. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm a software development manager for a small software development firm. This is my 4th trip to Zyarah, coming here to Karbala as well as to Najaf. I first came for Arba'in 3 years ago, and during that trip I met a member of the Global Kindness team, and they spoke to me very highly of the work that the Global Kindness team is doing here in Karbala. And I really wanted to come and join and be part of helping the people here, because when I went for Arba'in, the generosity of the people when I was walking from Najaf to Karbala was something I'd never seen before, and I felt that I really needed to give back. So that's why I was very interested, and since then the hospitality that I've received and the thanks that I've received from everybody as we've been going from place to place working has been very rewarding. Global Kindness is a charity based out of Vancouver, BC. They provide dental care to children in impoverished regions around the world. I've gone to 4 dental missions with them now, 3 here in Iraq and 1 in Cambodia. We are providing dental care to children, anything from fissure sealants, basically making sure that their teeth stay healthy, to extractions if they need it, to regular other dental care if they need. So what we've been doing in the past is actually very similar to what we've been doing currently, though we've expanded to a new school this year in Karbala. When I came for my first trip, it was very overwhelming. We hear about Imam Hussein, we hear about the events of Ashura all my life. You go to mosque every Muharram and you hear about it. And when I first came, it was extremely overwhelming to see. You hear about the love that we all should have for Imam Hussein, but when I got here, you actually felt it. And that feeling that I got was something that I've taken with me since then, and that's one of the reasons why I come back every year. It really helps me get closer to my faith, I feel. So that's how it was for me in the beginning. In terms of how it's changed, I still definitely have that feeling, but it's nice to see how the city has changed, and it's only been in the last 3 years with the way the construction is going at the Haram, the security at the Haram. You know, you can see it's getting bigger. They're able to handle the crowds a lot easier, and seeing different people at the Haram. Last night, or I think it was the night before, we met some lady from Malaysia in the Haram. So it was nice to see different people, Muslims from all over the world. My first wish when I came was for the health and safety of my family, as well as for the Iraqi people. Arba'in was, to be honest, it was a little overwhelming. We we were a fairly large group, and we all left Najaf together. And as we were walking, we all stayed together. And I remember thinking at the time that Imam Hussein, when he left, he started out as a group, and he didn't leave. He left on his own. He was by himself at the end. Whereas when we got to Karbala, we were all still together. So when I got here, it was a little, it was a bit much. I'll be honest, it was very overwhelming. And I remember I saw my mom at the hotel, and it was a lot, especially when you walk from Najaf to Karbala and you see the domes. We came in, the way that we came in, we saw Hazrat Abbas's dome first from the distance. It was an amazing sight, something I had never thought I would see, and I'm grateful for Allah for giving me the opportunity to have that trip as well as to come back. And inshallah, I pray that I get to come back again. I guess my final message is that I thank the Iraqi people for all their hospitality while we've been here. And inshallah, I hope that we can do some small service to help all of you out as you've helped us out, especially with fighting all the war that's been going on and all the turmoil that's been here. I'm amazed and I'm always astounded by how everyone here is so resilient, and they persevere, and I take that into myself when I go back home, and whenever I get down, I always take that into myself and I remember this trip. So my final words is thank you, and inshallah I hope to come back again.